Well, the World Health Organization says no country is adequately protecting its children's health, environment or future. A new report has revealed that apart from the existential threats climate change poses, children are exposed to exploitative marketing. Now, retailers push fast foods, sugary drinks, alcohol and tobacco even at children. Well, Professor Mark Tomlinson from the Institute for Life Course Research at Stellenbosch University joins us via Skype to discuss the implications of this and what we're doing. Prof, a very good evening to you and thanks so much for your time. Just clarify for me what the research actually says. Is it saying that we are so engrossed in what we're doing for our children today that we are not thinking far ahead enough for their futures, to secure their futures, or are we just not interested at all?
So thank you, and good to be on the show. I don't think we're saying that people aren't interested in children. I think usually that's the one thing we can be sure of. But I think what we are saying is that current efforts to protect children, to think about children in terms of the future and the potential impact of climate change and climate breakdown, that in that respect we're not doing enough. And so what the report is trying to do by developing indices, by gathering 2 years of work of research, is to say that we need a whole series of things to be done to put children at the heart of government policies, to make policies more child-friendly, to really make serious efforts at dealing with climate change, and as you just rightly said, to really think about how marketing and advertising to children is actually harming the health of children.
And to that point, Prof, I mean, something like that seems to be something that is within our control. These are things, I mean, that just gets down to profit and greed and all of that. When it comes to issues like climate change, ecological degradation, how do we actually get to the nitty-gritty? How do we start to even bring that under control? And I know that the world is trying, but what else can we do that we're not doing at the moment?
I think you make a lot of really, really great points. And so firstly, it's not easy. It's going to take a lot of work. This is not a simple problem. We're dealing with entrenched ideas. This is not a report that's anti-business, anti-marketing or advertising per se. But we are saying is that in Europe and the US, the average child will watch in the course of 1 year about 33, I think just over 30,000 adverts per year around junk food, sugary drinks, online gambling. This is not acceptable. We're creating, the levels of obesity have increased 11-fold in the last 20 years. So it's about governments putting children at the heart. It's about increased investment. Often when we think of children's health, we think of the health department, the Ministry of Health or the Department of Health. It's not just their responsibility. It's education, it's roads, it's all sectors, and it's about a serious attempt to say if we don't do something, we are going to be seriously impacting on the future generation and the generation that's going to be needed that's going to need to have the conditions, the environments to meet their developmental potential, and we're not doing enough.
So what are we looking at? Are we looking at a very sick generation that's going to be living on a very sick planet?
So yes, so I think that you could take that from what I'm saying, but I don't think I'm saying that. I mean, one of the big parts of the report is, for example, listening to children and adolescents and having their voices central. And we have seen that in fact in many of the big movements in the last year or so around climate, for example, it has been children and adolescents pushing that. So in fact, in my contact with adolescents and children, I actually think we've got a lot of hope. But they don't have the access to power currently to allow them to fully actualize that. Currently in the world, I think it's something like 60 or out of the top 100 richest entities are actually corporations, not governments. And corporations' first focus is not child health. And obviously they're very invested at some level in it, because if climate breakdown gets as bad as some of us may worry about, that then for a corporation the future market that's a problem. So they are potential partners in this, but I don't think all hope is lost.
And Prof, very quickly, what's the immediate action? What can we start doing today to fix this?
I think we have to not only say that children are our future, we have to act and do like children are our future.
All right, so put that into action. Thanks very much there, Prof, for that. And Jeremy, I think you'd be very interested to know this index showing that children in Norway, Korea and the Netherlands have the best chance of survival, while children in the Central African Republic, Chad, Somalia, Niger and Mali face the worst odds.
Not unexpected, but nonetheless deeply concerning.